Afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the Wednesday, September 11th, 2024 joint. It's on. Joint Finance Audit Budget and Government Oversight Committee to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
with your permission, I'd like to have us pause for a moment of silence in honor of 9/11. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman
Thank you,
Brown.
Mr. Chairman.
The next item is the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt.
The motion, Romano adopts the agenda.
Support.
Made by Commissioner Romano, supported by Van Sickle. Any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, please vote. Nope. We're able to?
Nope.
E-vote, press E-vote.
No, that won't work. Nothing. There you go.
Ta-da.
She's over there.
Easy breezy.
Motion passes 11-0.
Okay, next item is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who would like to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. There'll also be a second opportunity for public participation for anyone that would like to speak on any issue.
Excuse me, Commissioner, they can't hear you in the back there. Is your mic there? Something's wrong.
Commissioner, I can't turn it on anymore. It's red, so it either works or it doesn't.
They're waving back there. They can't hear you.
Well, we just modified the room, so I guess I'll have to move closer. Anyone from the public? Agenda items only. Agenda items only? Okay, seeing no one from the public, we'll move on to the next item, which is presentations. This is items A through C. I'll take a motion to receive and file items 5A through 5C.
So moved by Nard. Support.
Okay, first one, I'm sorry, that was made by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Grote. First item is going to be the Finance Department 2024 second quarter financial report. Steve, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everyone again. Again, what you have before you is the second quarterly report, or quarterly report for the second quarter of 2024. As normal, I'll keep my comments brief. If you have any questions, if I can't answer them here, I'll be more than happy to follow up. I always tend to concentrate on the general fund, and personnel is the largest expense in the general fund, and you'll see that that's right around 50% through June, which is where we would expect to be. So a little soon to be trying to project expenses for the year, but I would expect a surplus again this year. I don't know to what extent, but interest rates are still holding relatively strong for what we've recently matured and renewed. We still have the ARP money in the bank, so I expect interest to be strong again this year. Property taxes still strong, so I think we're gonna have solid revenues as we have the last few years. I don't expect expenses to be have any trend different than in prior years.
Thank you, Steve. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Phil.
Quick question about the non-departmental capital outlay portion of the report. Yesterday, the clerk came to us for 1.1 million out of that fund, I believe, for the storage closet. And on here it has, it went from 3.2 and amended was 2.8. So if we approve that, I believe it was somewhere around 1.1 million. Will we be sitting at 1.7 million?
Yeah, we'll end up
Ish.
happening as we go through the remainder of the year. If IT or facilities come to you, we'll probably have to take in some fund balance, I would suspect.
That was going to be my next question. If we run out, is there anything scheduled that we're aware of through the end of the year to be taken?
I don't know. I'll follow up with facilities, and IT usually has a number of projects, but
Right.
I'll follow up and get back with you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Ha?
Thank you, Chair. Steve, do we actually have the ARP money allocation in the county accounts?
Are you asking if we have the, yes, if you're asking if the cash that we got up front a couple years ago is in county accounts, yes.
Okay. Second question, are we drawing interest on that money while it's
Yes.
there? Good
That's
point.
all built into the general fund budget.
The
All that
interest
money is
is
getting
built into
credited
the
to the general fund.
budget.
Pardon?
The interest is built into the general
It's into the
fund?
general fund budget, yes.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Steve, can you talk a little bit about the capital plan update in here? I know obviously we're doing a lot of capital expenditures, and you have the report in here, and it looks like at the end of June, we have about 2.7 million in pooled cash relative to, looks like carry forwards. Can you just talk just briefly about the plan and any major changes to it, and if we're still on track?
I think we're still on track, aside from, what Commissioner Kraft was saying. When you're referring to the 2.7, are you talking about money in the capital improvement fund?
Correct.
Yeah, we got about 2.661 in there, I believe, at the end of June, which we can tap into as well if we have projects that come in the remaining of the year that would cause the capital outlay line item in the general fund to go over budget. Assuming that doesn't happen, then that 2.6 will carry over and it'll appear on the 2020, the next capital plan that you'll see when we distribute the budget to you.
Okay. Is this a new, it looks different to me. Are we using Workday for this, or is this a new spreadsheet?
No, it's the same template. I don't know what looks different other than maybe the gray, white lines.
Okay,
Maybe. It's the same template.
okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, please vote. Thank you, Steve.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner. Next item here is item B, which is the Treasurer's Office. This is the 2022 Delinquent Property Tax Sale Proceeds Report. Page. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So what you have before you is the sale proceeds report for our sale that was in 2022. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have regarding it.
Paige, you're taking that route today, aren't you?
I am. Our current auction is actually going on, and I've got taxpayers coming in to pay for the 2024 auction, so. yeah.
Okay. Commissioners, I don't see any questions on this. Oh, Commissioner Ganem.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you know how many actual vacant houses you have, that are in foreclosure right now, that are coming back to the tax field?
Right now, for my 2024 sale,
Yeah.
I don't have that number right in front of me, but I can get that to you.
How about 2023?
In 2023, I don't have that broken down in front of me either, but I'd be happy to.
Yeah, please. I like that. Interesting.
Just want a list of which ones were vacant and which ones had structures on them?
Yeah, which ones, just structures. I'm not worried about vacant properties, just structures.
Okay, how many for this 2022 sale, the 2023 and 2024, or just for this report?
Just the 2023, most recent. And would you
located?
also break it down into cities?
Yep, sure.
No, so
Be happy
I
to.
don't have to worry about Mr. Brown's area, but I like to see
My
how
poor
many,
dirt farmers are.
your poor farmers up there. I like to see in Warren itself what the breakdown of that is and where they're at. So I can, if they're in my area, maybe I can help.
Yeah, I can email it to you today.
Okay, thank you.
Paige, I know this is the 2022 report. Where are we looking at for 2023, 2024? Is it leveled?
So 2023, we had less properties that went to foreclosure sale, about 100. And then 2024, this year, we're only at, we auctioned off 49,
Okay, so we've gone down.
going down. 2022 was a bit higher because that was right after the COVID, and the treasurer withheld all occupied structures from foreclosure and then didn't have a sale in one of those years as well, so.
Makes sense. Okay, great. Okay, seeing no other questions on this item, next item is the Treasurer's Office 2024 second quarterly report with Christina. I know Christina has a lot of comments on this, I bet.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm available for any questions, if you have any. I do want to make a few points, though, regarding the second quarter report and just a few things that are going on in the market in comparison to the 6/30 report, the second quarter, and to date, as of 9/11, the interest rate on a one-year treasury has gone down approximately 1%. So everything's starting to trend down. So just so you guys can, just to make note of that.
Commissioner Gano?
No.
No? Okay, my screen's not updating. Any questions? Commissioner Brown?
I see Flagstar Bank, New York is C+ on a, with all the others are A's and B's, so are they on a watch list for you, or what's going on with them?
We currently have, in the portfolio, I believe there's approximately, as of 6/30, we had approximately, I think it was a 2.6 million CD and approximately 560-some thousand in accounts that we had with them. As of right now, today, we have $534,000 with them, and they are court-ordered accounts that we have set up, and obviously with the FDIC insurance, we would be covered with that. So we are, and we have no intention of investing any more funds with them.
Why don't you just pull the money out entirely?
Well, it's a court order, they're court-ordered, we could do that.
Court-ordered. Oh, never mind. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Christina, one quick question in regards to that money. Where are we investing instead of Flagstar? Where have we been moving it to?
The CD that matured. I'm gonna just speculate. I can't really tell you. It was $2.6 million. I would say that would have been a roads investment because they have a CD that matures every week for $2.some million. So that could have went anywhere from, it would have went with one of the other banks. It could have been Bank of America. It could have been First State or whatnot. The majority of the general fund monies are in treasuries because we are a lot more flexible with where we can, on our maturity date. Whereas roads is very specific with when they want their maturity, their funding back.
Okay, great. Seeing no other questions, now we will vote. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next item is 6A. This is ordinance for fiscal year 2025, June, August, and September program years, budget appropriations ordinance. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
Support.
Moved by Kraft, supported by Gano. Steve?
So this is the normal course of business for us every year with our programs that have a year end or a program year other than June 30, where we're making basically a temporary appropriation to the various grant funds so they can operate effective on their program years, which most of them are October 1st. And then once we adopt the budget, we put the actual dollars appropriated by the board into those funds and reverse this entry here. So this is every year or every couple months we come with one of these. So normal course of business.
Okay, I don't see any questions. Please vote. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
I'm missing a few. If you didn't receive a vote, if you can try the e-vote option.
Harold?
I used the vote.
Okay. Did you get yours? Commissioner Nard?
Yes.
Commissioner Perna?
Yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. All right, next item is item B. This is contract with Granger Construction Company. This is for the Central Intake and Assessment Center Improvement Plan. This is GMP Amendment number 3 in the amount of $9,044,373. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support Van Sickle.
Moved by Nard, supported by Lucido. Good afternoon, Ben.
Good afternoon. Happy to see all of you again. Item 6B is a guaranteed maximum price amendment with Granger Construction Company for the Macomb County Central Intake and Assessment Center and subsequent capital improvement projects. Bid pack number 3 in the amount of $9,044,373. This GMP amendment is within the budget estimate carried to date and is inclusive of the Board of Commissioners approved project budget. Bid pack 3 includes bids for the structural concrete package. This package will cover things like structural foundation, basement foundation walls, slab on grade, etc. Bids within this package were publicly taken and thoroughly vetted through the post-bid interview process. There were a total of 3 bidders. The selected bidder is Simone Company. Simone is a Macomb County contractor, so that's good news.
That it, Ben? Okay. Questions? I assume my screen's updating, but can't guarantee that, so I don't see anyone on my screen, but I do have a question, Ben. So the actual bid that went out for this, when will this when will the cement be anticipated to be poured?
When will work start with this contractor? Do you have it anticipated?
The previous site work contractor is just getting started out there. They need to reroute some storm lines and put temporary earth retention in, and then the foundation work will begin. So we're anticipating it'll be October, November timeframe.
Budgetarily, was this within budget?
This was over our estimate that we had put together at the DD level of design. So it was over that estimate. However, we're kind of on a fast track with design and pre-construction and procurement at the moment. So that design had progressed to the point that these bid documents were published.
The mix for the cement, is it rated for, is this a winter mix or is this for a spring mix?
They do have winter conditions included in their bid amount. So it would include any heating of water or, aggregate protection for the winter conditions.
We previously too brought Intertech PSI, that's our testing agency that will be testing all the concrete as well.
How much over budget is this approximately?
Well, again, I want to be careful about saying it's over budget. It was about $1 million over that particular estimate, but the design had continued to develop. So programmatically, we're still within budget. And as we work our way through to that final bid package that we'll bring to the board in December, there are some safeguards for overage.
Commissioner Ganem.
You asked the questions that I wanted to ask. I just want to make sure that there's winter, that they're prepared for winter, straw, all that stuff, calcium, if you need to mix, hot water, so on and so forth. And plus, also, to make sure that they have, you have some contingency there for if you find bad ground.
We do, yeah, and that's separate. There's contingencies for unforeseen that the owner is carrying. Plus, we have a CM contingency within this GMP amount.
And you'll do slump tests and all that stuff on the concrete during the later months in the winter?
Which test?
Slump tests.
Slump test, absolutely. Yep,
Okay.
and that's part of the
That's,
third-party
yeah,
inspection.
that's through the third party, yep.
Okay. And then, what part of the bid was over, Was it the concrete went up, was the, what part of the bid was generally over $1 million?
Well, so we did an analysis from our estimating department after the fact, And we compared the estimate we put together at the design development phase versus this set of bid documents. Some of the footings were enlarged. There was the wall footing that was enlarged, slab on grade quantities went up. So it was really some quantity changes as that design continued to develop. And the design is still developing. So again, in the overall program, there are some owner contingencies set aside to cover some of this design development.
So basically, they're add-ons to stuff that you didn't foresee.
Well, the,
You know, thicker wall, extra wall, bigger wall, stuff like that, you know, bigger footings, spreader footings, whatever, right? So it was no change in like concrete or steel or anything like that.
No, it wasn't outside market factors that were driving that process.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you, Chair. About the changes that you just cited, the footings and the wall and things like that, what drove those changes? Were they requests from the county or were they?
No, I would say it would be natural course of the design progression. So as some of the other engineering systems, MEP systems, architectural are known, then it influences the need for, you know, those footings need to be enlarged. Structural steel needs to change.
basically, as the design progresses, things naturally change, and it's just catching up from when the estimate was done.
And this question is probably more directed at Ben. Is anybody tracking? I understand the $1 million was for this line item. Other line items are going under, hopefully, and some others are going over. Is anybody tracking the aggregate
Very
plus and
closely.
minuses to give us a total?
Yeah, we're tracking it very closely. There's a whole team of us doing it, led by our owner's reps at Plant Moran. So it's all being tracked kind of real time as we go through these bid packages.
When you update us like this, I would like to see that aggregate number.
Is that
also.
on the dashboard? Are we showing any metric on the dashboard for that? It's gotta be relative to kind of, it's a tough question.
Yeah, it is a question. The dashboard doesn't, because there's so many.
Why don't you come forward and speak so we can hear you? Thank you.
Yeah, that's really something that's, it isn't, you know, the financials are tracked and reported on the, you know, kind of as they're coming. So as we allocate certain, relative to the overall, like it's continuously changing. So, I mean, everything from the construction side of it, where we've got the hard construction cost, to all of the owner costs. So all of that is continuously kind of being developed and evolving. So there's, you know, budgets held for technology services, and the designs are continuing to evolve. There's budgets allocated for furnishings, of which the team is just beginning to understand what the furnishings and all that, to purchase that later in just-in-time type thing. So, you know.
Well, I guess what I'm interested in is we had an original budget, correct?
Yep.
As every line item on that original budget, I don't care what the budget went to later. As every line item comes in on that original budget and we have a real number there, I'd like the pluses and minuses summed up and brought out. And if I, you know, if it's wobbling around between 5 million plus or minus, you know, okay, fine, I don't care. But if we start to see a trend, then I want to know something.
Sure.
I don't want to come down to the end and say, hey, we need $50 million more to finish this.
We have a very, like our top number is, you know, we hold it very tight to our chest. So we are making sure all the time, constantly, that we're not going to exceed that budget.
And
But
is that against the original budget or the current budget?
The original budget. Everything is matched to the board-approved budget. And with that, as Jeff alluded to, there are safeguards relative to contingencies in place to, as that is adjusting, to be able to real-time as those happen. So if there's adjustments that need to be made, if there's adjustments in the scope of what the work is, like all of those are kind of being aligned. So as we do these checkpoints at schematic design, design development, what's also happening is the design team is adjusting, you know, what their intent is for how it's being constructed to align maybe more in line with where the budget is. So there's, not only is the financial and budget piece adjusting, so is the scope at the same time to make sure that those are aligning.
And that's all happening within the overall.
Okay.
Right.
Well, my goal is no surprises.
Understand, and we
Same for
don't,
us.
we don't,
No
we don't
surprises.
want, Dr. Amboyer continues to remind us on time and on budget,
Yep, we're all gonna have.
every meeting, so.
Now, you mentioned a dashboard. Is this number visible on the dashboard, did you say?
The dashboard does report, by each category, of where the financials are, as far as where the budget is for each of those respective: construction, regulatory, professional fees, all of those report on your dashboard every month, and where those commitments and spending against all those. So that is reported every month on your dashboard.
Do you think I'd be able to understand that?
I hope so.
Okay, good.
We try to keep it simple and concise, without getting into too much granular detail. And so that's why we really kind of roll it up into all things construction and all things
Okay.
professional services and all things, those type of things.
Okay,
Because there are a lot of moving pieces and parts, a lot of professional services involved that continue to get added to it. So we try to, inform you ahead of time on the dashboard reports to know, like, here's the things that we're anticipating bringing before you, and educating you on what those are and why we do it. Like Ben's example with like the material testing services.
well, yeah, and I don't really expect any line item to hit exactly the budgeted amount.
Right,
They're all gonna be over or under.
absolutely,
But anyway, thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Brown?
I have a question for owner's rep. How involved are you in the we got a very complex team doing a lot of complex work on the whole project, but are you involved in the process on a daily basis? Are you there every day?
Every day.
That's
Yeah.
you're basically attached to him?
Yeah.
I'm attached to him,
We're,
I'm attached to him, I'm attached to him, yes.
I don't,
So is the dashboard current? If I went on.
Every month-
we go to the
every
meeting,
month
look
when
at the
we submit
numbers,
that.
I got actual numbers based on what you're telling me today?
Yeah, and we'll note some of those depending on the timing of when we have to complete the dashboard for Ben to submit it. We may, our project cost accountant may be a month behind, and we usually note that at the bottom of the financials. With as current as that is we're able to reconcile that with Steve's team to those financials. But yes, that's current to either the current month or the month prior.
Because we're relying on you, we're paying you a good sum of money to make sure that, you're helping all of our team and keep us informed. And so, and some days are good news, some days are bad news, but overall, it's gonna be fine.
We'll
But
bring
you
we'll
can't
bring
shy
you all
away
of it.
from,
yep.
letting us know the truth every time.
Yeah, those dashboards come to me maybe the day before my cutoff. So it's towards the end.
Well, I know you're busy. How much time do you have to really review that? You gotta rely
Oh,
on,
I'm
you
spending
gotta rely on the information you're getting, right?
5+ hours a day on jail sometimes, unfortunately. So, or
Well,
fortunately.
and those reports are reviewed not only by
By the whole
Ben,
team.
by Mark Delden, by Don, by Tony, everybody reviews it so that we're updating you on what's happening, the progress, what's anticipated, what's coming. So you're getting, a diverse input in each of those dashboards.
We'll be talking to each other a lot over the next several years, so.
We talk a lot.
Just want to get a good base understanding and going forward, that's all.
Our whole team, honestly, the communication's been great. We do meet a lot, and we're kind of attached at the hip during the week and sometimes on weekends, but so far we made very good progress. I'm feeling very good about what we're doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you, Chair. I find the dashboard very concise and easy to read.
Good.
I like it. I wish we had the previous and an expectation now, but then you wouldn't be here. So we like you here to get all this. But I really like the dashboard. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
One last question in regards to the cement being poured. When, are we thinking that's gonna happen in November, October? What's kind of like
Well,
the timeline
so-
approximately?
Months.
We were anticipating October would be our start. There is a storm line that we're expediting the actual material and the structures for right now to get them on site. That has to be rerouted before we can excavate for the foundations. So it's gonna rely on that. That's our critical path right now. But our goal would be to start that work in October. It may lag until November. The full duration of foundations is about 6 months, so it'll go through the first 2 quarters of next year. So we've got quite some time to.
So the mix primarily for the winter mix will only be used during the months that you're actually pouring it,
Correct.
or that portion.
Yep, when the outdoor temperatures, ambient temperatures dictate that we have winter mix.
So the reason I'm asking about the timeline is because with the winter mix, there's obviously an increased cost in that mix. How much of an increased cost in that winter mix was allocated to this bid, approximately?
I don't have that exact
Excuse me, could you move a little bit closer to the mics, because we can pick it
Sure.
up? Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know the exact figure of in dollars. There's thousands of yards of concrete, you know, and there's a premium of $10 a yard for heating the water.
Right.
So again, I don't know the exact number, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a significant amount overall for the work that they're doing.
Okay, seeing no other questions, please vote. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next is a contract with Nickel and Saph for the builder's risk insurance for the central intake, an amount of $534,481. I need a motion to recommend this to full board.
Support Nard.
Moved by Haw, supported by Nard. Hello,
Hi,
Dina.
good afternoon,
How are you?
Commissioners. Dina Champ from Corporation Counsel. I'm here this afternoon to seek approval of this item 6C, which is for the builder's risk policy related to the CIAC project. It piggybacks pretty well off of what the previous presentation was. The amount of the policy, the premium, is $534,481. There are varying deductibles, as I indicated, for water damage, earthquake, flood, or named storm. If anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I do also have our representative from Nickel and Saph with us this afternoon to answer if there are any more detailed questions that I can't answer.
Thank you. Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. Could you explain to us, please, builder's risk insurance and what in fact does that do?
Sure, so
I don't recall us doing this. I know we haven't had a project of this magnitude since I've been here, but I don't recall us doing this.
So you haven't had, yes, of this magnitude, but there was recently the Sheriff's Boathouse project where there was a builder's risk policy involved, not nearly this size, but, and I'm not sure that predates my participation in the risk and insurance at Corporation Counsel, so I'm not sure if that's something that has come before the board before now, but we're here now. Builder's risk, I think that I'm going to introduce John Johnson at this point from Nickel and Saph. I think he can probably give a better broad overview of builder's risk. I have a general understanding, and he can probably provide a broader explanation.
Thank you.
This is John Johnson.
John Johnson with Nickel and Saph Insurance Agency. Builder's risk is a policy that's traditionally not covered under your general liability and your property coverages. This comes into play when you're building a building from the ground up. So essentially, any new building would not be covered under the traditional policy. Thus, we need to create what's called a builder's risk. And at that point, you guys would have coverage for the materials and those sorts of things while you're building it if there is any sort of loss. It covers those.
Any sort of loss, how?
Any perils. A peril would be a damage type of claim. This could be a water claim. This could be a tornado. This could be electrical. This could be a vehicle damaging the building, so on and so forth.
Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
John, real quick, the policy limit on this, it looks like it's 222 million.
Correct.
How was that determined?
So you brought forward 3 parts of this. First part would be the established building that is being renovated. That amount is covered under your traditional policy. I believe it's in excess of $80 million. The rest of this money is broken out into two sectors, soft costs and real costs. Soft costs are your legal fees, your engineering fees, that sort of deal. Real cost is the materials to build this property. So we put the soft costs and the real costs together to bring up that $220 million.
Okay. And term for this, is this the amount this will cover?
It's a three-year term. 3-year term.
And if we have to extend it, there is an option to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Seeing no other questions? Please.
Chair,
Oh,
may I
Commissioner
ask,
Zitter?
what's the cost to add the 3-year? Is there a cost increased?
There would be, it would be in the form of an endorsement. I don't think it's an amount that we have, unless you're aware of it
So
and I'm
there's
not.
not a actual dedicated amount if you guys go over the 3-year term. What we do is we would come back to you guys and ask a couple different questions. One, what's the deadline now for this project? Obviously, you went over the 3-year that you guys thought it would take to create this building. What's the new timeline for you? Next is there any additional costs? Did you guys go over budget? We started at 222 million or 220 million. Are you guys now under that, over that? And then we come back to our people and say, hey, we need an endorsement, an extension on this, and we would break that out at that point for you.
Thank
It's
you
a
very-
traditional thing that's common
Thank you.
practice in this.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner, I can tell you that on the Sheriff's Boathouse project, we did get into that situation and we did have extensions. So it is something that we're familiar with and it is, we have planned for it. Just the amount is uncertain at this point. Hopefully we won't need it, but it is available if we need it.
Thank you.
When the time comes.
Commissioner Romano?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Is there a deductible on any of these risks?
Yes.
And can you give
There-
me some numbers?
Yes, the deductible is $100,000 for all of the coverages except for water damage. There is a $250,000 deductible.
And that's on all the risks that are covered, $100,000 deductible.
Yes. Except for water damage,
And who
200.
sets that deductible?
The carriers do,
Carrier being yourself.
being the people that we reach out to procure this coverage for you.
The insurance carriers.
Yes.
This
We're a
particular,
brokerage or agent, so.
I understand where you're
Yes,
at.
sir.
So that seems like an exorbitant amount of deductible for anything over 100,000, gotta be almost catastrophic over there, I would think. We couldn't get a lower deductible? Was it shopped for a lower deductible? That just seems like a lot of money for any type of damage we have. It looks like we're covering our own cans without.
Great question. Yes. We reached out to over 20 different companies for you. We only provided the quotes from the best 3 companies that would do this. So the deductible wise, although it seems a little bit high to you, the county is actually on a self-insured retention program. And you guys have self-insured deductibles or retentions of upwards of $750K to $1 million, where you absorb that until I come into play and start giving you reimbursements for those things. So a $100,000 deductible on a $200 million project is not out of the picture here. That's normal.
Okay, that's all I have, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Brown?
What about personal liability? What about injury? A lot of structural, I see there's a lot of structural coverages in the policy, but are they covering any injuries, any, somebody gets seriously injured over there?
so
That is covered under your traditional workers' compensation.
if it's an employee that is injured, it would be covered under
Contractor.
it would be covered under workers' compensation. And if it is a civilian, it would be covered under our general liability coverage.
I mean,
This is
I know
specifically-
that Nickel and Saph's gonna make sure we're covered. I just wanna know if this policy covers us that, and you're telling me it
No,
doesn't,
there
it's
is-
covered under other coverage.
Correct me if I'm wrong, there is no personal injury
I didn't
coverage
see
in a
anything in
builder's
the
risk
deck
policy.
page. Okay, all
Yes,
right,
she is correct.
thank you.
I thought I had another speaker, but I don't. Okay, seeing no other questions, please vote.
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, next item is 7A and B. I'll take a motion to receive and file these two items.
So moved by Narge.
Moved by Nard, supported by Lucido. This is for the Central Intake and Assessment Center update, September 2024, and all open bids as of today, September 11th, 2024. Any questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Make up my mind.
Commissioner Perna, did you receive a vote?
No, yes, no, I didn't not receive it.
Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
Okay, well, now switch over to Government Oversight Committee and Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. I will call the Government Oversight Committee meeting of 9/11 to order. First item on the agenda is scheduling our organizational meeting for Thursday, January 9th, 2025 at 3 p.m. I need a motion to refer that to full board.
So moved.
Support Zinner.
Motion by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Zinner. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. I want to thank the chair and the administration for getting that to us early enough so we can all schedule that very important meeting in January. Next item on the agenda is appointment interviews. These are Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board appointments, 2 vacancies, 3-year terms to expire on September 30th, 2027. We have a number of applicants in attendance this evening. I would like to advise them this is a matter that gets referred to the full board, which takes place next Thursday. And each of you will be limited to 3 minutes to explain your desire to be on this board. I want to thank the staff for providing all of us the rules and the requirements for the Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board. Please review these before we get to a vote on the 2 vacancies. Our first in order is Mr. Amen. Is he in attendance? Sir, microphone's yours. I want to thank all of the applicants in advance for applying, very much so. It's yours.
Good evening, Board of Commission. Good evening to all the other applicants who is waiting like me. My name is Khaja Ahmed. And it is my privilege to be serving as a Federal Warren Board of Education. Also, I serve Warren Beautification Commission. I am a Bangladeshi American citizen, been residing in the Warren last 26 years. So I proudly can say that my home is Macomb County. I really love to work for all the community, including the diverse community, and I believe Macomb County is one of the first diverse community. So I know that Warren and all the Macomb County, especially the Bangladeshi community, are very fast growing up in Macomb County. I am working tirelessly with the community. So many of the community people didn't know there are so many opportunity Macomb County government, state government are offering to make the residents are as a great citizen. So I know that there are so many immigrant family nowadays, they are suffering with so many issues. And we can resolve them to make their life as use substance use for diverse community or the other community. I think like I just believe myself as an immigrant, if I work with the local and county and state government as a citizen, the other community will follow us to get the opportunity. So substance use is not a personal issue. I think this is the community issue. It harms and affect our personal life, affect the productivity and economy. So that's the reason I am applying to be a candidate to work with Macomb County with such a great program to, take the message to the community, hey, for this kind of instant, if we can use it, we can make our life is better. We don't have to be struggle, and our family life, community life will be much better. So please allow me to work for SUD program with the community, and my commitment to the county, make sure that our county remains safe and prosper, and I will continue to work and support county board and our community together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next candidate is Lisa Childers. Hi, Lisa.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Childers, and I'm interested in being on the Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board. The reason that I'm interested, well, there's a couple of reasons. I would like to work as part of a team helping to unravel the mental health crisis. I guess I'll give you some background. I am a retired public school teacher. I worked in Fraser for almost 25 years. And although I am retired, I've been retired for 2 years, but I'm actually working as a substitute teacher for Macomb Intermediate School District with the different types of populations. So I have that background as an educator and working with families and seeing what substance abuse can do to not only adults, but to the children that belong to them. But I also have a whole nother side. I have been a foster grandma to one of my granddaughters as a result of her mom and dad's addiction. I have done that twice at this point. It's a difficult road to go. And unfortunately, this particular child is not my only stepson who has had addiction issues. So in my family, it is incredibly personal. I will also tell you something else, since thrown them out there. In 2012, I blew my knee out going into work and ended up getting double knee replacement. Kind of odd for a lady who wasn't even 50 years old at that point. However, as a result, we're talking 2012 and 2013, I was put on tons and tons and tons of opioids. I mean, to the point where I could just go to any doctor and say, you know, they would ask me if I needed a prescription, and I'm talking multiple doctors. As a result, when everything got resolved, I ended up being dependent on them. And I had absolutely no idea, I'm gonna be honest, what in the heck was going on in my life. I did not understand why I couldn't just decide not to take them anymore. I ended up on Suboxone. I did that for about 3 or 4 months. I was told by that doctor that sometimes folks have to do this for the rest of their lives. I had a determination and a will, and I'm not saying that some people are just not able to, despite everything. They might not have a support, they might not have the will to do it. I did, I was able to, I cold turkey went off Suboxone and spent about a month curled up in a ball. So I know what substance abuse does personally and professionally. And I am very interested in being a part of an oversight policy board to help make changes in our community for folks that are suffering with this. I have a ton of compassion, absolutely, and I know how difficult and hard it will be. So, can I answer any questions for any of you?
Seeing none, thank you for applying.
Thank you very much.
Next is Pamela Franklin.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody. I'm Pamela Franklin. I'm here because I would like to be on the board for the substance abuse. I have worked in the hospitals on the mental illness and drug and alcohol floor. I learned and I saw some things that I never thought I would see. Helping them is very difficult. It's hard, but it's fair. You do everything you can to try to help, and you just have to keep trying. I have had drug history in my family. I've gone to meetings and working for the UAW, the hospital, the phone company. Everybody has a drug policy. I've been a part of all of those rules and policies, trying to make everything better for the client who's involved in the drugs and alcohol. I think I would be a good fit for the team, bringing my experience and learning what you have to give. I would love to be a member of the board.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next would be Robert Fulner, unable to attend, so next is Claude Gracie. Welcome. Go ahead.
Good day. My name is Claude Gracie Jr., and I'm a resident of Macomb County. I've been a resident since 2011, and I'm also in recovery. I just celebrated 5 years of recovery. I also, thank you. I also utilizes a few of the organizations within Macomb County. Family Against Narcotics, which was created by Judge Linda Davis. I utilized their service, actually became a recovery coach once I fought my recovery with Family Against Narcotics. And I also utilized their program, Hope Not Handcuffs, in Hazel Park in the beginning of my recovery. And the thing is, having a lifestyle of addiction, alcohol, mental health misbalance, as well as not putting my best foot forward in life, and also having criminal act history. When in July the 11th of 2019, I never thought, never in my life, that I would go to the police for hope instead of dealing with them strictly with handcuffs. And Hazel Park was very opening. The program, I mean, just motivated me just to see that that kind of atmosphere did exist. And now in 2024, I started my own nonprofit, Soul Forward Sober Companions, which is a non-tax exempt. I'm so committed to the addiction world, to the mental health. My brothers and sisters still out there struggling. I'm a mirror to them. I know what they're going through. I know what they desire, and I know all the setbacks and all the anxieties and depressions that exist. So I would give them more than just an example of what they can be and what they can do in life. I can assist them through that part. And I want to be in a position where I can be almost a bridge to you guys, because I'm constantly in the community. I'm grassroots. We do community outreach, and we deal with the Tri-County area, not just Macomb, but Metro, Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne. So I'm also a certified community health worker. I'm also a peer recovery coach. And when I started off my recovery in 2019, I started off with a GED, nowhere to go, homeless. And I stand here in front of y'all with commitment, compassion, sincerity, and I would love to learn some of the things you guys know. I believe that diversity and having a unified approach towards community issues, problems, and dilemmas is the best solution. Thank y'all for having me here, and I'm courageous to come through this door, and hoping for the best. Any questions?
Seeing none, thank you and congratulations in continuing on your recovery mode.
Thank you, sir.
Next is Sarah Matthews.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me as I read what I have wrote. I am here today as a Macomb County resident and have been for my whole life. And during that time, I have been directly and indirectly impacted by the substance abuse disorder in Macomb County, starting with my mother and then on to me. When they talk about generational trauma, it does definitely pass down through generations. I'm here today, having applied for this position, not only as a dedicated professional in the field of substance use and mental health, but also as a person in long-term recovery. My journey began as a drug court participant while living in a recovery home, where I discovered my passion for helping others on their path to recovery. In my first year in recovery, I began working at a recovery center. Being in this professional career, I have been there for over 5 years. My educational background includes McBAP Certified Recovery Mentor. I am now enrolled in my bachelor's program, having just finished my associate's program in social work. I am also enrolled in a developmental plan for a certified addiction and drug counselor. And over the past 5 years, I've been in the front lines, working directly with individuals affected. This hands-on experience, coupled with my recovery journey, has provided me with invaluable insight into the challenges faced by those struggling with addiction and the critical importance of effective support systems. My goal in seeking admission to this settlement board is to contribute my unique perspective as both a professional and a person with lived experience. I believe my practical experience, combined with my educational background and personal journey, can offer a valuable viewpoint to the board's decision-making. I am deeply committed to serving our community, and ensuring that opioid settlement funds are utilized in the most impactful and efficient manner possible. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next is Brittany Patton.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Britton Patton. I come here today applying for the Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board. And similarly as to some of the other applicants today, I am a person with lived experience. I am a professional in the substance use disorder field. So I would like to bring that insight and experience to this board. So I've been on the end of being a person served, being a person who is struggling with substance use and in the community, and then turning that around and seeking recovery in Macomb County, which is where the foundation of my recovery started and is still on that journey today. And also as now a professional in the recovery, substance use, mental health profession. So I have experience with the needs on this end of the spectrum and the needs on the professional end of the spectrum as well. So I can bring that insight. And what motivates me to that, not only the experience and the things that I've noticed people in the community struggling with, myself that I struggled with, my children and their experience with that, my family members as well, that it is a community issue, a family issue, not just the individual. And so how do we change that? Well, in order to implement change, I need to be a part of the community, the unity that brings about change. So me alone, I can do the things that I do, participate in my own personal recovery, volunteer for many Macomb County's substance use organizations that I'm a part of, helping with prevention in schools, helping with coordinating with police officers, part of peer coaching, or whether it's Hope Not Handcuffs, being at events, giving awareness to people, bringing overdose awareness to the forefront and showing that that is a reality of what's happening to our young folks and adults today in our community. So again, in order to implement that change, what else can I do? Well, again, I need to be a part of the unity. And this community and this commission in our county, that's the unity that we need to come together to actually implement policy changes and influence legislation so that these things can become a broad thing that helps impact the community. So when future generations are coming up or folks are struggling in our neighborhoods, that they have resources and people to come to, and that the stigma starts to get shaved off of that. I have folks just on my block alone, some that have been in the social media for their mental health. And it's like, we don't want to continue that stigma. It's like, how can we help? And how can I be a part of the solution and moving forward? And so that's why I'm here today, and I appreciate the privilege and time you allowed me to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Next is Demetrius Jim Prant. I know I'm gonna blow that. Prantazolos?
Yeah.
Was that close?
It's close, yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Must be Greek.
It is, it is, yeah. Yeah. I too am an immigrant. My parents immigrated from Greece. I was actually born there and came when I was a little baby. I've been, I'm a Detroit native. I've grown up in Detroit, lived in Macomb Township since 76, basically. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a former drug addict or anything like that. I'm actually a software architect. So I know you may be asking yourself, why is this guy here? I'm here because as a software architect, I know what, I've served on many software architectural boards and committees. I know what committees do to ensure efficiency, effectiveness, and accountability. But more importantly, why I'm here is because I lost my brother 8 years ago. My brother suffered from schizophrenia and drug addiction. And I know what it's like to live with someone who suffers with both mental illness and addiction, and what it's like to lose someone who suffers from that. I have 2 daughters. I'm a father of 2 daughters. Both of them are PhD researchers. One's studying neuroscience, one is studying neuropharmacology. They're both very interested in studying mental illness. One of my daughters is actually specifically studying the correlation between nicotine addiction and mental illness. So mental illness is something that's very important to me and my daughters. I don't want to take away from anybody who would be more qualified for this position. I deeply care about mental illness, and I want to make sure that you guys elect the right person for this position. I'm just here because I want to help, that's all. I want to offer my assistance, and if you see some value in that, then great, fantastic. I think you have some wonderful candidates here. I've heard some great stories, and I'm very optimistic and hopeful that you guys make the best decision, because I really, really want to see the right person on this board. So, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for applying. Next is Ryan Zemke. It's a reappointment. Ryan? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you to all the other applicants for sharing your personal stories. I am here seeking a reappointment to the board. I have served 3 terms already, seeking a 4th term. Throughout the course of the board, I did serve as the chair of the board for a while, elected by the other members of the board. I was term limited, had to go back to being just a regular member of the chair. But I'm still there and still seeking reappointment. I'm currently the magistrate and deputy court administrator at the 41B District Court in Clinton Township. I do not have a personal family impact at this point, thankfully, but this is obviously something that I see every day in my line of work through the court system. Very excited through the work at the court as well as on this board for the intake center that's coming, because I think that's going to be a real game changer for the county and the substance abuse policies and services that we can provide as a county to people. When I started on this board, I was in private practice as a criminal defense attorney. I got hooked up with the specialty courts at the 41B District Court through then Judge Linda Davis. I became involved with Families Against Narcotics Now, Face Addiction Now. I serve on that board. I'm a past chair of FAN, still there. I'm involved in many different groups through the treatment courts, through the addiction community. When I started on this board, I had a kindergarten and 1st grader. They are now 8th grade and freshmen in high school. At the time, I promised myself that through the work I saw to help my clients in private practice, as well as families that were struggling, I was going to do everything I can to educate myself, to help make our county the leader in providing services so that hopefully I don't wind up here with a personal story. Also recognizing that this is something that affects all of us, no matter what situation you're from, what district you represent, what color you are, what background you have. This is something that affects all of us. And, 10 years ago, I was probably pretty ignorant and uneducated and uninformed about the problem. And I did a lot of learning so that I can make Macomb somewhere that's great for my kids, for your kids, for our kids to grow up, to be safe, to help the families that are currently struggling. Makes me super happy to see that some of the programs we have put into place through FAN have helped people and brought them to here. That's the payoff through the board services, seeing that they're working, seeing the people from the specialty courts that I know so many of you have supported over the years and attended hit their graduation, and not having to see them back at court for an arraignment now in my new role, helping them as an attorney back then. So I'm committed to hopefully continuing to serve on the board. I'm excited to see so much interest and so many qualified applicants. Obviously, you're going to have a tough decision, and whoever you pick is going to do a great job, but I'm excited and humbly asking to continue serving on that board, continuing to show up prepared, educated, informed, to make the best decisions for our county so that we can continue to be a leader and continue to address this problem the best we can.
Thank you. We do have a question.
Yes.
Chair Brown.
Ryan, you've been on the chairman for that board for a few years. What are some of the accomplishments that the board that you could point to that they've accomplished in the last couple of years? And what are the challenges do you think that you'd like to see the board do in the future?
Sure. The accomplishments we've had, certainly we weathered the huge storm through the COVID crisis. Just like everything else, trying to get people who are now isolated, suffering from addiction services, getting to them without them being able to walk in to counselor's office and things of that nature was a very difficult time. where the board lost a lot of progress on the services that we were able to provide as a county. We weathered that storm, we got through it, we readapted, we reconfigured, we're more efficient than ever now with online services and providing more services. The good news was that came with some funding, both at the state and federal level, that we've been able to now use. And frankly, there's probably some more coming from some of those settlement dollars. The challenge is, how do we use those properly, right? There's so many different things coming on, different addictions that are developing. When I started, it was heavy heroin. It's now moved more into cocaine and methamphetamine. It's all similar science, but different. We're adapting, we're working on it. The legalization of marijuana has obviously presented some challenges that the board continues to address, but we're doing the best we can with that state funding. Obviously, we can always do a better job of promoting our services. Certainly reducing stigma is a huge thing, because this is something nobody wants to talk about. It's a disease that suffers so many people, but is, one of my close acquaintances will say nobody buys you a casserole when your child has addiction, as opposed to you tell them casserole and you're now on the meal train. It's just another disease that people suffer from that can be treated successfully, that we're doing everything we can, but it's still one of those things people don't like to talk about. It's a little bit taboo. The reality of it is it's a huge issue that needs to be addressed and needs to be community support, like so many people have.
How many clients do you come across or support? Unique clients do you come across in a year's time? Do you know that?
So I'm currently the magistrate and deputy court administrator. So I'm doing every arraignment for every case that comes through Clinton Township's district court. We're seeing about 5,000 criminal cases a year. I wouldn't want to guess at it, but the problem is, even if it's not a drug charge, there's probably an underlying substance abuse problem. So even if I'm seeing a domestic violence, often that's someone that's suffering from alcoholism that led them to a charge like that. If I'm seeing a retail fraud, that's often somebody with a drug issue that's stealing to feed that habit. So,
I mean, about this board though, not you as not your role in the court, but this council.
How many people has the council served?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
to defer to our substance abuse director, which is currently the interim director is Nicole Gabriel. We're going through a little interim period here while CCMH reshuffled. The exact number of people they serve, I wouldn't even want to guess that and be wrong. It's a high number. I know that. We have a ton of funding to a ton of different services. The board acts in an advisory capacity to the general substance abuse funding. They act in a full capacity with regards to the PA $2. We're talking millions of dollars a year through recovery homes, through three-quarter houses, through peer coaches, through services in the schools. I couldn't even venture a guess, but it's something that I could get from you by talking to the people at Macomb.
I'd be interested to see an annual report from the board if they got something similar from the organization that you chair.
I will follow up with community mental health, the oversight of Macomb, and see what we can get to you guys for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, board, for indulging me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to offer, since we do have oversight responsibility with the attendees, that we add this to our list of organizations that come in annually and report what they've been doing. I read an article today in the Detroit News which surprised me. 4 out of the 10 local communities, not the county, that have received opiate funding have not done anything with it and didn't have plans to do anything with it. So we need to assure that we're not running into that situation at not that I would think we are at the county level. Mr. CMH Chair.
Just to piggyback off of that, if you don't mind for a second, at CMH, we literally reached out to every single community that received opioid settlement dollars and said, if you don't know what to do with it, we can help you figure it out. We did receive some responses. We didn't receive as many as we would like, but we did send multiple communications to the local communities to say, hey, if you're only getting $5,000, we could even pool it together to the greater county to do even more so. So we did have some participate. We had many that didn't want to do their own thing, which is fine, but we did reach out numerous times.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Phil. I need a motion to refer the appointments to
Mr. Chair.
full board. Motion by Commissioner Ganem, supported by Commissioner Zinner. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Next item, and thank all of you for attending. Next item on the agenda is a resolution 2024-4240, a resolution supporting House Bills 5917 and 5918, presented by Commissioner Nard. I need a motion to refer that to full board.
More.
Support.
I have a motion by Commissioner Ganem, supported by Commissioner Perna. Chair Brown. Oh,
Yeah, just want to say that the resolutions regarding Oakland, Macomb, our state reps encouraging Lansing to take an interest in the CSO and SSO issues coming from Oakland County across our drains and through our community out to Lake St. Clair is an important issue that we're going to help back up our representatives. But I would suggest that you as individual commissioners take it to your local governments, your local community boards, and speak out on this and say, listen, join us in passing a resolution very similar to what we've got here that they could probably simply modify to include their community's name in there, and ask them to pass the same thing to support us, our state representatives, and our public works office to try to call for the state of Michigan to take serious the problems that are going on with Oakland County continuing to discharge in our communities. So just a suggestion. I think it'd be worthwhile. It's definitely people would be good to see their commissioners interested in the environment. We're so much dealing with budget and numbers, but this is an issue that we could have an effect on the environment and lobbying them that we're paying attention, and let your local boards know they have a role, regardless if they're on the Clinton River or not. Richmond Township, I'm going to Richmond Township tonight, and I'm going to mention this to them as part of, my business I'm doing with them tonight. So anyways, just a suggestion. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Chair. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Brown, I think that's a great idea. I also will be discussing this with Macomb Township. If I could, I don't know, Commissioner Nard, if there's no objection, I'd add my name to this as well. I think, and it might be something where we're all on this, quite honestly, if we are going to bring it to our locals, I think it shows a much more of a stronger position, quite honestly, that your name is there and you're signing it. So just food for thought. Thank you, Chair.
We can certainly amend it so at full board, so we've got all the signatories there. We'll list all the commissioners unless someone doesn't want to be on it. We can certainly exclude your name if you, for whatever reason you want. But otherwise, we'll include your name unless we hear otherwise.
Yeah, we good. Yeah.
Very good.
Commissioner Grant.
Thank you, Commissioner Sabatini. Good suggestion.
That's what I was just going to suggest, that all of us would sign our name
Fair
on that
enough.
resolution. That would be a good idea. And thank you for the good suggestion, bringing to different communities.
Commissioner Ganem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I already reached out to councilmen and tried to get this on the agenda. I know that Ms. Nard has also talked to a few. So we're going to try to get this pushed through the city council to hold hands with the county. Nobody knows the impact more than Red Run Drain than me. I live on it. I mean, I could throw a rock and go splash. It's 300 feet away from my pool. So, and I lived there, since 1999, and before that, I lived right across the street. So I've seen that Red Run Drain for the last, 62 years of my life. And what I tell you is that when Oakland, releases that flow, and I said this before, the stench on the bank after the water goes down, the raw sewage stays on that bank, on those, on the trees and on the bushes and all that, and it bakes in that sun, and it's just disgusting. And so I think that we have to get strong with Oakland County to make sure that that is treated and it's, properly treated. And listen, the city of Warren is building, an $80 million basin to hold everything on the south side in Ms. Nard district. And the north side, we already have one because we have one on treatment plant. We already have one on the north side. And so I think that, why can't Oakland County build a bigger retention basin?
That's right.
Simple as that. Go build a basin. Let's be tough with them. Whatever we have to do to get it done, we should get it done, because it's just absolutely sickening. And I'll invite you out next time that happens. You can come out to my house and
No, thank you.
We all have some.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I know we all do this with each other with these proclamations and things, but thank you, Commissioner Nard, for being, gracious with this, as we all are anyway. Thank you.
I would ask Chair Brown to have staff send us all this resolution so we can deal with our local municipalities on it. Did we vote? Please vote. Oops.
Nope.
Here we go
Nope.
again. Here we go again. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Voice roll.
Yes.
We'll do any voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes for reference to full board. Next is a proclamation honoring John Angilio for his heroic efforts to save the life of a woman, that is being presented by Commissioner Zinner and Commissioner Lucido. I need a motion to refer to full board. Motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Lucido. Seeing no speakers, please vote. Mine worked.
Commissioner Ganem, I didn't receive a vote for you.
Yeah, I voted yes.
Thank you. It's running really slow. Commissioner Kraft? Thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
You got Commissioner Burness, really? Okay, thank you. Next is our second of two public participations. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Going once, twice, gone. Next item is Commissioner's comments. Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you. I should have said this back when we were talking about the resolution. Can we send that to Jamie Cook and see if we can get him here next Thursday and maybe get some kind of press coverage for this?
Certainly. I'm speaking on behalf of Don, but yes, certainly.
Yes. Thank you. That's all I have.
You're welcome. Commissioner Zenner?
Yes,
Look
no,
at me,
thanks.
I'm just reading it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chair. I was at an event and the host brought up a man who did not plan to speak, and he was very brief, as I will be. His son had died taking barbiturate and was unexpected. He was there with a table of men whose children had taken barbiturates or one pill. They have formed a group, Fathers Against, and I don't remember the end of the phrase that they use now. They have this group, and they've gone between Macomb, Oakland, and another area. They've gone out of state, and they formed a phrase, maybe you've heard of it, one pill will kill. And his friend who was there made a statement, years ago, if you hurt yourself as an adult, you hurt your knee, you were really banged up, your friend would give you, hey, listen, I've got a Vicodin at home. Here's a Vicodin, because you'll be able to sleep tonight because you're really hurt. And people didn't always go to the doctors for things. And he said, you can't do that anymore unless you know a pharmacist has prescribed something, because you just can't take a chance like that. And, we all know what's happening to so many teenagers at any age. It's so dangerous. And just as Nancy Reagan had said, just say no. That was a great, she worked at that, and that was very helpful. And this really one pill will kill. A lot of times it's one pill, and they're laced with things, and young people or anyone does not know this. So that phrase is maybe something someone might want to use when they're speaking to people, because we've received a lot of information about this. So it's just something I thought I would bring up to help these people and hopefully anyone that may not realize how dangerous it is. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no further.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to, whoa.
Hold on.
Slow down here.
You gotta look at your screen.
I did, you're not
I
here.
must have pulled off. Anyway, if I may have a question, not a question, but I was told a couple commissioners earlier, I'm gonna tell everyone that earlier this afternoon, I got a call from Steve Schmiegel asking us if the Board of Commissioners had any budget priorities that they might include in the budget going forward. Typically, asking us if we had any budget priorities that we wanted to see included in the budget or excluded from the budget, you know, and they asked just as a way to help the process going, because oftentimes in the past, the board has ideas that we bring forward in the middle, and there's conflict or stress, so they're trying to get ahead of that, so they want to know if there's anything we wanted to include in the budget that might be able to be included in the budget and their recommendations, so it goes through smoother. So, anyone's got any suggestions, let them know, let Crystal know in the next couple days or so, and then I'll, pass them along. But just so that they reached out to, it was the first time they've ever reached out to the board and said, what do you want in the budget? Normally, they put the budget out, and then it's a negotiation trying to get something in there or not, and it's a little bit more complicated. So this time, they're coming on the front end and asking, so I just offer that and lay it out, that's the latest news this afternoon.
Better make it fast.
To your knowledge, that's the first time that's ever happened?
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay.
I think we've been around, I don't remember that happening this way. And it's smart because oftentimes, so we get to the end and then there's a little bit of not enough time to get the budget settled before, we pass it, right? We need more time, and we want to get it done before Thanksgiving ideally, but in past years, we went into December. Commissioner Kraft was 17, some of the other commissioners know we go sometimes a lot longer than that, but, so anyway, it might help the process along, so.
Thank you.
Put it out there for you. Thank you.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Yeah, just to continue what Commissioner Brown was saying, I think October 9th, our Super Bowl begins here. So,
Is that what it's called now?
And Steve actually, Chair Brown said it was Steve had reached out in regards to that, which I was glad to hear that, quite honestly, just because it seems like we do go to the wire a lot. And I'm asking all of you if there's any suggestions or things that you want to do, if we can bring them to the board sooner than later. It's always the 11th hour. We're trying to figure stuff out, work with finance. If we can, work towards, discussing that with them ahead of time, just so, quite honestly, our numbers are spot on and right, and we're not, doing math at the last minute. And the math is in spreadsheets and trying to figure a thing out and working with finance, and it gets really complicated. So, long story short, I'll be here a lot, as I usually am. So my door is always open to all of you. If you have any questions, suggestions, you need help, anything like that, I'm here to help. So just wanted to say that, Chair.
Thank you very much for that offer, Joe. Seeing no further speakers, a motion to adjourn has already been made by Commissioner Romano, seconded by Commissioner Zinner. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we're not voting. What? We are adjourned.
Adjourned.